Welcome back, rankers. Getting back to some site reviews this week. Now remember, if you want your site reviewed for SEO, just head across to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Melbourne SEO, or you can tweet us at Stuart Media. And we're going to do some site reviews as these fine people here have used the Facebook page to request a site review. I know some of you email those requests in, but it's hard for me to keep up with those. So the easiest way is that if you put it on Facebook or tweet us, one of the other staff here will make sure that you get scheduled for a review. And because we're getting a lot more requests for reviews and there's a lot more search news, Michael, our in-house copywriter, has put together an excellent post every Monday on what happened last week in search. And what we're calling it is Last Week in Search, because we're quite creative. And there are some excellent stories in that post this week. Go and have a look at that. Chock full of videos, infographics, picture of me. What else has it got in it? Oh, really excellent story there, actually, about how some of your referral data may begin to change coming from Google organic search, and the only way that you're going to be able to get that is possibly through AdWords. And there's a bit of controversy and conspiracy around that decision by Google, so go and have a read of that. It's excellent. But without further ado, let's get down to the site reviews. I rhymed. Okay. Jesse Badger, masterelectricians.com.au is their site, and it's Jim, by the way. I get that a lot. That's okay. So, Jesse, we're going to have a look at your site, masterelectricians.com.au. Had a bit of a browse of it this morning. The first thing that we always look at, of course, is the page title. Now, it's not clear to me exactly what you're looking to rank for. But you know, if it's Master Electricians, that's great. It's in your domain name. It's at the first part of the page title. If that's not it, maybe move it around. Hire professional electricians, electrician trainings and courses. I don't think so. But anyway, you know what I mean there. So there's a couple of phrases there which you may or may not be trying to rank for. Where the reason that I'm a little bit hesitant about telling you that, oh, you know, you should put a pipe here and whack that there is because I don't know your keywords. So I went and had a look at Google Insights for search, and what I did, I typed in two things, electrician and master electrician. Now, for those of you who don't know, masterelectricians.com.au is the site, I believe, for the Electrical Contractors Association and the Master Electricians Professional Group as well, whose name I've forgotten. Sorry. I'll have a look at it in a second. But, so basically they're there to make sure that people understand what master electricians are all about, and why you should hire a master electrician, and why you know, all the safety issues, safety concerns, all those sorts of things. And so I've typed electrician and master electrician into Google Insights, and I'm just searching Australia here, 2004 to present, which is really interesting. It's you know, from 2004 to now, how the growth of searches for electrician. And you know, I think if you cross-reference that with Yellow Pages, you'd see a downward graph crossing around about here. But you can see more and more people, of course, are using Google to do the sorts of things like they used to do with Yellow Pages. Now, interestingly here, master electrician doesn't even really rate a blip on the radar. And when I go down and have a look at, you know, search terms around master electrician, there's not enough data. Google just isn't seeing that data, which indicates that people in Australia anyway are not typing master electrician into Google enough to warrant Google keeping any numbers around that. Now, if you've got Google Webmaster Tools set up and Google Analytics, then you may be seeing something different to what Google Insights for search is showing me. But certainly, there is not a lot of traffic from what Google Insights is telling us around master electrician. So, you know, the sorts of phrases that people are typing in Australia around electrician, you know, is the, you know, auto electrician, electrician apprenticeship, Melbourne electrician, Sydney electrician. Interestingly, you know, people up north type electrician Brisbane, and then we have people down south typing the town first. So there's a whole variety of here, in Perth electrician as well. People often ask, oh, but if I try to rank for Melbourne electrician, won't I just be able to rank for electrician in Melbourne? Not necessarily, because they are two different phrases. And if someone else's, or if Google finds a page that is more relevant for the juxtapositioning of that phrase, then that one is going to rank rather than yours. And that is typically the case. It's not often these days that you will see a site try to rank for one version of a phrase and it will automatically rank for the other, unless it's, you know, pretty uncompetitive sort of phrase. So go and have a look at Google Insights for search and type some of your own phrases in there, Jesse, because, yeah, I'm a little bit confused as to what the keywords may be. When I go and have a look at the keyword meta description tag, start to get a bit of an idea there. So maybe, you know, when you look at this, you say, okay, well, oops, might want to fix that. I look at this and say, okay, maybe you're trying to attract members. Maybe that's the sole purpose and goal here. And if that's the case, then, you know, these phrases are quite good. But just as I just outlined, you know, Melbourne, Brisbane, this is great if you're trying to rank for those words individually, but it does nothing for, you know, adding these on as a geo qualifier, if you like, for these other phrases. You actually have to have those other phrases there. Now, chances are, I don't know, but you don't have a lot of competition in this field, I would imagine. So it could be easy for you to rank. Now, the other thing that I did go and check is, and I'm using the Aaron Wall SEO for Firefox SEO X-ray tool here, and this just makes it easy for me to look at things. What I'm looking for here are SEO elements on the page. And you can see up here we've got, you remember, start with the page title, then go to, you know, what's on the top of the page. We've got a H1 here. This is a typical technique used by web developers for formatting everything else. Not a big fan of whacking a logo in a H1. Not because it's going to do you any damage, but that's the only H1 that you have in your page. You're much better off having text in that H1, which is to say, you know, don't use a H1 there. Just put it in, use something else in the CSS to format that, but not a H1. And then have a H1 maybe below that. And maybe a little bit of information here about exactly what it is that you do. You know, I've got no problem if this was more descriptive, I guess, of having that as your H1 down in here as well, just under this logo or under this menu. But it's good to get that H1, that first H1 on the page, in text. So I would ditch that H1, put a real H1 in here. There's no H2s, a lot of H3s, H4s, and once again we've got graphics down here in a H4 and H4. Once again, I'm not a big fan of doing that, putting graphics into these heading tags, because the idea of a heading tag is to basically format the page. And by putting a graphic in it, you're not telling Google terribly much about what those headings are. So unless you've got, you know, alt tags and title elements in there, which I don't think you have. I'll go back and have a look in a second. But they're the main things on that front page. There is a lot of text here in the this review section, which is great. So apart from the fact that we don't have the actual text and we've got graphics instead. But if I go and have a look at some of these graphics, yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of text around those graphics. No, so yeah, you might want to get some titles and alts and that sort of thing in there. You use your keywords. I don't know who these guys are. and hopefully they've given you a significant discount for that outbound link. And apologies to Bright Labs. And I know it's a technique. I know one of the web developers here said, well, it's a bit like signing, a piece of art. Yeah, okay, except in this case, it's an outbound link, and you're losing link love. It doesn't need to be there, so I would get rid of it and just put the text there. Put their if they want to sign the page, why put a link there? Just put their URL there and don't link it. So that would be my first things that I would do on that page. Okay, now that as soon as you've done that, have a look at that, then the next thing I always do once I get my head around that front page is go and have a look at the index. This is a much overlooked technique, but I've said, okay, site masterelectricians.com.au, it's telling me there's 858 pages. I'm guessing that's too many, and the reason I'm guessing that is because I'm seeing URLs like this at a subdomain, www.dev.masterelectricians.com.au. Now, when you do this search, it's going to give you all the subdomains as well, because I'm not putting www in there. If I was to put www in there, you will get a totally different result. So we've got 858, now we've got 253. Now, I'm guessing this is the real number of pages on the site. If it's not, then you've still got a bigger problem. But the issue that we have here is that it looks to me as though this may have been the development site. And you can see up here, we're still at www.dev.masterelectricians.com.au. So right there, we've got a duplicate front page. So I'm guessing that the site is duplicated at different URLs. Really, you've got to get those out of the index. And the only way to do that properly is that you actually have to go and set up webmaster tools for every one of those other sites. And these are actually other sites as far as Google's concerned. So, if we go and have a look at, say, just that URL in the we go site, colon, oh, that's good. It's only got 25 pages. So maybe not the whole site has been duplicated, or maybe it's in the process. Let's have a look at the cache date. The cache date on one of these pages will tell me how often Google's coming back, or how recently, or accurately, Google looked at the site. Not recently, but so let's go and have a look at the first results. Go cache date. Broken. Even though it has a cache, Google won't show me the cache. The cache is broken. Let's see if this is going to give it to me. Maybe Aaron's tool here will give me the cache date. Yes. Okay, that's not good. The reason is that it's recent. Okay, so it either means that Google has only picked it up recently, or it's coming back and it's going to crawl the rest of the site. At the moment, it seems to have only found 25 pages, but if I take these W's out, still 25 pages. So it could mean that either Google's about to crawl the rest of that duplicate site, or it is just coming back to those pages alone, which I doubt. Yeah, go and have a look at that. The other thing, of course, is to make sure that you always have a sitemap for Google, and and I'll just quickly check and see if you've got an XML sitemap set up. Now, I'm just taking a punt at the name here. I could be entirely wrong. Okay, so page not found, 404. Okay, that's fine. So we've got a correct 404 set up by the looks of it as well. So there's a few things there, Jesse, that really need to be addressed. the only way to get all those other sites out of the index, and you've got a few there, or block them from the index, you've got members.masterelectricians.com.au. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong to have it there, but if you don't want Google spidering that, then you need to get it out of the index, especially if there's duplicate content there. I think you've got cms.masterelectricians.com.au. I haven't had a chance to have a look and see what that site is. But all of these sites have to be set up separately in Google Webmaster Tools, and then the process of going through and removing all those URLs, and also blocking them with robots.txt at various parts throughout the site. So look, that's the sort of thing that is fairly common that we will do after web developers have come along, who typically, and some of my best friends are web developers, but typically web developers do not have a history, let's say, of understanding the way that the Google bot operates. And, this is a pretty good example of that. Okay, moving on to our next site, and this one is for Michael Carlisle of pushies.com.au. Just launched a new site. Love to hear some SEO feedback on it. Well, Michael, have I got some feedback for you? Okay, now, Michael, I know you've been around a while. I think we had our first interaction in 2008 for, I think it was some sort of music site. Anyway, I'm having a look at the site, and of course, the first thing I'm going to go and do, once I've had a look at the site up here and the page title and the H1s and all that sort of thing, is I'm going to go and have a look at the code. Now, I would say that is probably 1 or 10,000 keywords too many. Could be wrong, but when I look at that, it kind of goes on for a little bit. I haven't done a count of them, but seriously, this is on every page of the site. So I'm guessing that your CMS is, I don't think someone would have deliberately stuffed, 10,000 keywords in a meta tag. See, here's the keywords meta tag. But what I think has possibly happened is that every page, when the meta tag's been inserted, for the keyword meta tag for every page, it's kind of combined it all into one. I think that's possibly what's happened. Not sure. Anyway, you've got to fix that. People often ask, well, how many keywords should you have in your meta tag? Well, quite honestly, it doesn't really matter from Google's perspective, but I think it's still a healthy thing to do, because there are other tools, sites out there which will use that data and extract that data. The reason Google doesn't pay much attention to it anymore is because it was so abused by webmasters in the past, because they did a thing called keyword stuffing, which was this. So, don't do that. That actually could be hurting you. Google might look at that and just go, no way, not going anywhere near you. So, fix that. Maybe, 10 keywords tops per page. And every page, of course, should be different, because every page on your site is different. And the same applies to page titles. Now, if I just get past this, well, obviously, that's something you've got to fix up. If that front page is quite comprehensive, a lot of products on it, some of the issues that you will have with these products is that all these headings here are actually in text. If we do the same thing that we did for Jesse's site and have a look with our Aaron's X-ray tool, similar situation, you've got a lot of H2s, which are basically graphics. You're not getting text into that page and giving Google an idea of what, sorry, I'm just looking at this, of what is important on that page for Google to have a look at. It's a good idea to get a H1 at the top of the page, a heading, to let Google know what the page is actually about. So I can't close my, oh, there we go. I can't close my X-ray tool now. Michael, you've broken it. I'm going to get to it. Wait a minute. I'm trying to close it. I wonder if I hit the escape key, will that work? No. This could take a while. I can't get to the top. I can't close it. Oh, here we go. And what we're looking at here is the keywords. So, there's my close link. So, fix that, definitely, right? Okay, now we're going to have a look at the index, site.pushies.com.au. We've got 1,680 pages. Seen some odd things in the index. One of the things that I saw the other day when I had a quick look when your request came in was that some of the images were set in, like, I guess, frames. And those frames were out in the index by themselves without any navigation. So the Googlebot had crawled those individual frames, and so you had those extra pages. That's what, I'm not too sure about how big your catalogue is. That may be a good number or a bad number. The other thing that I would do, and you may have already done this, of course, slightly aside from organic search, is make sure you've got Google Shopping set up so that, let's see if we can actually, Google Shopping isn't finding anything to do with pushies.com.au. So I would go and set that up just as another point of entry for the users, if nothing else. A couple of the other things that I've seen in the index here too is that search results are appearing in the index, which is a big no-no for Google. And what I mean by that is if your site has an internal search engine, and typically, it's usually /search ? Just see if we can find one here. Here's one here, right? Search results for Stolen Riot BMX. I'm presuming Stolen is a brand, not an identifier of the bike itself. So you've got query in here, and it says here quite clearly it's a search results. We've got search results here as well. You want to block the Googlebot from the search function on your site. And the reason for that is that it's against Google's terms of service, basically. Go and look it up. But the reason Google doesn't want you to do it is that it can end up producing a lot of junk pages in the Google index, and Google will actually, give you a bit of a slap. Also, what I'm seeing on this site, Michael, is a lot of duplicate page titles and a lot of duplicate description tags. If you haven't already, make sure you go and get Webmaster Tools set up. Go and have a look at crawl errors, diagnostic section in Webmaster Tools, and go and have a look at the HTML suggestions, because that will give you a lot of this information that I'm just sort of finding here already. Google will already know about. And quite often, Google will tell you about 3 or 4 pages that all have the same page title that you didn't even know about. It happens to us. It's happened to me quite a bit, because I'll tend to use the same keywords a lot in different blog posts, and then Google will say, you know what, that page title is, if not highly similar to another page title, it is exact. So you make sure you change those things. And that is it for this week's show. Don't forget to go and check out this excellent blog post every Monday from Michael here. Last Week in Search. Some good reading, some good videos. And remember, if you've got questions, then hit the Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Melbourne SEO. Or hit our Twitter account at stuartmedia.biz. And we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.